So speaking of drunk situations, let's go to our next topic about drunk stories. So I think that would be fun.
Shameful situations.
So you guys, I wanted to talk a little bit about, we started talking about before this podcast about, in particular, Ian's wedding story. About how things can get crazy, and then when you mix alcohol in there, it wasn't you, but when you mix alcohol in there, things get even kind of wilder. And maybe we could start there, and then we can each share maybe a crazy drunk story.
Okay, so basically, at my wedding, this is my brother's story.
Yeah.
I love my brother to death. He's awesome. He's a cool guy, but he drank a lot that day, and he actually did a few interesting things. But to kind of kick it off, I told him to go bring flowers to my soon-to-be wife at the time, and Rocco was there, and I told them the wrong room number. I was just not in the right mind. I was freaking out that day, and so Rocco couldn't explain that part.
Okay, so we walk up to the door, which is obviously the room wrong number, like Ian just said, and he's knocking on the door, thinking it's the right. It didn't even matter, that he might have thought that it was the right room, because what he said was just fucking crazy. He's knocking on the room, he's like, open the door, I'm gonna rape you. And we're sitting there first off, it's the wrong room. I don't doubt that whoever's sitting behind this door is like, what the fuck is going on? Oh my God, we're going to die right now. Calling the cops, doing whatever. Because they must be freaking out because there's some drunk assholes. And it's not just one guy. There's fucking 4 guys, actually. There's 4 guys sitting outside of this hotel room. One of them's yelling he's going to rape you. This is pretty intense. You can clearly tell that they're intoxicated. I'm just sitting there in the back because it's not a part of my character. I'm just kind of like, what the fuck is going on? And eventually we find out that, yes, it is the wrong room, and that we just went a little ham on some stranger.
So
you keep going on.
Yeah, so they end up getting up to the room, do everything there, and so I'm going to kind of fast forward to the actual wedding part. So, Clay, we were just explaining the beating on the door, yelling they're going to rape them.
Yeah, well, that seems logical. That's something you say when you want to threaten someone.
And it was the wrong room, of course. So, so...
It's the wrong room? So, did that person come out and...
No, they didn't. They must have been terrified, dude. I don't want door. There was 4 guys. That was just saying this. 4 guys sitting outside of their hotel door. One's yelling. They're all intoxicated. They can clearly tell. And one's yelling, "I'm gonna rape you."
Yeah, I wouldn't answer that door either.
What would you do on the other side?
What if it was oh my God? What if it's some woman who's
Okay.
I was just shaking my head we're about to get we're arrested. You're getting arrested.
Okay. All right.
So to fast forward to my wedding was on a beach actually, and down here in Florida. It was really nice, but where the reception was across the main road, and it was really far from where the beach was. So we all get into my truck and drive over there, and get prepared for the whole ceremony. And I walk down the aisle, I get to the front, I'm standing there. My brother was my best man, so he comes walking right after with my sister-in-law, who's the maid of honor. And right when he stands next to me, he leans in and he goes, "I forgot the rings." And I go, and I'm just standing there wait, you're joking, right? And he's like, "No," he goes, "I'm so sorry, man." And I told him, and I'm trying not to freak out, but I was just I told him, I said, "I have never wanted to beat your ass more in my life than right now." And I didn't know what to do. I was frozen. And I mean, if you think about it, people are still fucking walking down the aisle,
And he's drunk, dude. I mean, not Ian. His brother is.
Yeah. And I just, my mom's sitting in the front, and I just wave at her. I'm like, get over here. So my mom comes up to the altar while everyone's walking down the fucking aisle. I said, "Give me your ring," and I said, "Go get Dad's ring." So she ran over, and it's one of the funniest things ever. I laugh about all this now. It's hilarious. But my dad's filming, and out of nowhere, you just see the camera shaking because my dad is laughing so hard.
Oh my God.
He's like, "You're going to remember this, Ian."
Oh my God.
Yeah, so...
Did you think your brother was joking at first?
I did. I thought he was just trying to... Because my brother, he's like I said, my brother's a great guy, but, he's a jokester and everything. So, yeah, he fucked that up. So,
He did,
the,
dude.
the,
He
the
did.
best part is that, okay, so I'm standing at the altar and everything. My mom comes over, hands me the rings, and I'm like, okay, I have these at least. So we have this hippie of a lady she was awesome, but she was like this weird hippie doing the ceremony.
Yeah, she
So
was super hippie.
yeah,
She
she
was.
kissed the rings and everything, and the whole time I'm laughing because those aren't even our fucking rings.
Yeah.
And
Not the sands of the beach.
yeah, she's like picking up the
Yes.
sand, telling us to pick up sand,
Mix
and
the
we're
sand.
putting sand in a jar.
Sand it
and
together.
and my wife and we're putting sand in the jar, and the lady starts putting her own sand in the fucking jar. So
We're all putting sand in the jar.
yeah, I was
I
like,
was this is becoming a sand orgy.
How did you like get? Who did you hire her? Did you know
Yeah,
this
we
was?
hired her.
You sound
Honestly-
surprised. Like you weren't expecting
Well,
this.
I don't think that was like it didn't part.
Okay, look,
In the practice part, whatever you call that, that definitely didn't go down then.
Oh, okay. So you had no idea there was gonna be sand jar stuff.
well, they asked us if we wanted a sand ceremony, and we're like, yeah, no, we don't care. So they set it up, but they forgot all the jars. So we just had a table in the middle. I'm like, what the fuck is this thing?
Oh my god.
Yeah. So they had to go get jars that were hanging off the chair, like for the aisle. Yeah. So, but then like she told me, she goes, "Hey, they forgot the sand stuff. Do you want me to put it in or not?" I said, "Look," and this is right before I walked down. So I'm hit with all of these issues like back to back, bro. And I tell her, I said, "Put it in, put it out. I don't give a shit. Just wing it." And she wung it, and it was fucking weird.
It was fucking weird.
And she was drunk too.
Wow.
So with all that going on, my wife, I didn't tell her until they were trying to get the jars off the chairs. I told her, I said, "Hey, these aren't the rings. Go with it." And Taylor, being the cool chick she is, she's like, "Okay," like she didn't care.
Yeah.
But up until I had to put my mom's ring on her finger, I call Taylor sausage fingers because she has like short, thick fingers.
She got
So the
man
ring,
hands.
the ring didn't fit, and she like everyone was like kind of watching, and I only went up to the first knuckle.
And then did you just like fake it? Were you just like?
No, I
And
just
then,
went
like-
as far as I could and just stopped. And like,
We're done.
Meanwhile, your dad's zooming in.
Yeah, exactly. Like, look at this shit.
Nice.
so that was my brother's drunken crazy story. But and honestly, looking back, I wouldn't want it any other way because it's just hilarious. It's a great story now, and but at the time, I thought I was gonna fight my brother at the altar.
Memories, man.
You're gonna rape him. All right, Rocco.
I remember one my 22nd birthday. It was I was with all of my lacrosse buddies, and they decided, they were like, "Oh yeah, for every age that you turn, we're gonna get you a shot." So
No,
you really
shots.
can't get 22 shots deep without just dying.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, we went to a club, and this club was kind of a new club out in Savannah. It's like, what was the name of that club? It was like the only club in Savannah.
52.
Yes,
Go
that's what it was.
52.
Yeah, something like that, right? Yeah. Freeze something. It was like something. Ice was in the name. Freeze was in the ice. I don't know. Club 50 Freeze Ice. I don't know. Anyways, so we're there, and there's these go-go, not go-go dancers. The ladies that walk around with the drinks.
Yeah.
Like
cocktail.
cocktail waitress.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a cocktail waitress and stuff like that walking around constantly with these tube shots, and
Those are the worst things to buy. I'm going to tell you, working in the industry, they're the cheapest liquor. There's not much in it, and they're so like
You're
drowned.
paying for the experience to get someone to
Yeah.
shoot a syringe of liquor into your mouth.
that's about it, really, right? So it's like, I get about like 10 shots deep, and I'm fucking gone. I don't know who's in my body anymore. My mind
Who's
is
in
taking.
my body? What
I
kind of party is this?
Right, okay,
But
that's the way the door opens.
Some wild
That's where the
spirit. I don't know what it is.
Who's
Like,
in my body?
it's just like, so then they got the go-go dancers that I was just trying to refer to that are out there, they're dancing up on the stage. And I tell the lady, I'm like, hey, let me get up on stage. Let me do it. I can do it better. So I get up on the stage in this club which later gets on to, I get kicked out, but I start just dancing and going crazy and having fun. You know what I mean? Like drunk, wasted, get kicked out of the place. I mean, gone. Like I was saying, gone. I decide I'm very tired, guys. I'm very tired. I'm so tired I want to go to bed. And I want to go to bed in the middle of the street in downtown Savannah.
Dude, I did the same thing.
So I lay down in the street while there's cars trying to
not the
come,
street,
and my
but-
friends are all telling them to stop, and I'm just No, I gotta go to bed. I gotta go to sleep. No, I gotta go to sleep. So eventually, it's this friends decide that the best thing for me is to put me to sleep on the curb on the sidewalk. So I feel
They're
like
looking out for you, man.
I'm drunk. I don't know. I'm not, like I said, I'm not even there, man. I'm gone. And they put me to sleep, and they put me to sleep. I'm sleeping on the sidewalk while my friends try to go get the car so that they can bring it around. And I'm getting woken up by a cop, like, hey, you all right? I'm like, and my friends are, perfect
Gone.
time, decide to pull up, and they're like, no, man, we got him. We're just kind of taking him home. Like, good, he needs to get home right now. He's otherwise, shit's just gonna go down. But whatever he said, I don't have a clue what the hell happened because I'm just, like I said, my mind's taking a back seat. But one of the craziest experiences that I've ever had, just being deciding to go on to make my bed in the middle of the road.
Wow.
Being several shots deep, and I noticed there's a little trend in this one is that I decide to black out. No, I don't know why. Like whenever I start to drink a good amount, and that happened in one of my league nights too recently.
Mm-hmm.
I say 3 drinks, but my wife was like, "Oh, those were big drinks." There's probably like 6 drinks.
Yeah.
But it's still blacking
You're
out.
very concerned about going to bed.
Yeah, it was. It's one of those things. I'm like, I know when it's time to go to sleep. I just don't know where to go to sleep.
So my drunk story, man, very similar to the door issue that you had, Ian. Maybe I don't know what it is. When you're drunk, you obviously can't, decipher like the correct things, right? You're too intoxicated. So, this all started going to see football in Chicago. We had a bunch of colleagues that were very into football, and a lot of times we would go to this Steelers bar. By the way, Rocco.
Yes.
But on the front, it's a Steelers bar. It was called Weeds on Joe or something like that. Joe Weeds or whatever. And it was basically a giant warehouse, and you go into this. It has a front which is very much bar-like, has a ton of TVs, and then you go into the back, and this back was ginormous. It was like a cafeteria with just long tables, and along the sides are these giant projector games being presented. Every single game, bigger than any other TV you can imagine, are being projected. So you sit what game you want to watch, and there's never ever a shortage of what you can like watch and see. You never have to worry about that. So it was the perfect place to watch football and drink and have fun. So we go and we watch a Titans game, and then there's also other like games going on. And we're drinking, having a great time. There's like 6 of us. We're pounding pitchers of beer, and then our games like go really well. And we're having a great time. So we decide, we're like, hey, this is like 11 a.m. in the morning. We're like, hey, we should go grab hookah after this. We should go smoke some hookah at a hookah bar. And at the time I was super into hookah, and like I just wanted to like drink and like relax and whatever. This is Sunday morning, and they're like, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Let's go smoke some hookah. I was like, all right, okay. Wait, but before we smoke hookah, we should totally take shots because you really want to be nice and like buzzed. Like we're buzzed drunk at this point. We should not be having shots. But I'm like, dude, we should totally have shots before we go. And
that's how every great story starts.
Oh yeah. and so the lady comes over and they're like, hey, can we have some shots? And I think these guys were thinking like we'll have like some Washington apple shots, like some like really like easy things. And I'm like, no, we need to have 4 Horsemen shots.
Oh my god!
and I had not had one. I've heard of it. And I desperately want to have one. They're like, "What the hell is that?" I was like, "It's the 4 J's. We got a little bit of Jack, a little bit of Jose, a little bit of Jim, and a little bit of like Jack, Jim, Jose, and John. Right? Johnny Walker, Jack Daniels, Jim Beam, and Jose Cuervo. So all these different types of alcohols into a shot. And she's like, okay. So she orders them. And then like we're waiting for the things, and like they're playing like Flogging Molly and like all this like great music. So we're like, it's like I was like, we're like smashing beers together, drinking them. Then the shots come, we get the shots. We're like, oh my god, we need another round of shots. We need another round. Same thing. So she comes, brings another round. We take the shots, and at that point, things like spread. Like it's like it's as almost if like our conscious minds were like just like seeped out, and we forgot what we were doing, and we all just zombied out to our own individual paths. Like we were collectively there and conscious, and we were gonna go hookah afterwards. And then what happened? We got so drunk that like my one friend goes off to the bathroom, my other friend gets social with another group of people. I wander to watch other games. My other friend goes outside to smoke. And so we've all had these like new paths, and I'll explain what I what I think happened. I'll explain then what has happened to each individual. But I eventually go outside to because I'm like, where is everybody? And like I go outside and I see my buddy talking to a bunch of people, and I'm just like chumming up with some people. I'm like wasted, and they know I'm wasted, so they're just having fun talking to me. And then like people are like, I don't know what it was. People were getting like nice and cozy. They're like putting their arm around me, like, hey man, you're pretty cool. I'm like, yeah, get your arm around me. And like for whatever reason, like I do not want to be touched. And like I eventually slither off. I'm like, I'm going away, and I go out, and I think I want to go home. And my buddy who I work with. He's like, hey man, you're really drunk. We should get you. I'm like, yeah, we should totally get. And then like I run away from him, and I totally I eat it. I trip and I fall into the curb. I'm like, I'm fine. And so he's like, dude, you're not fine. And at that point, I forget everything. And so I'm now at this point, what I'm telling you is being told to me of what happened.
Oh god.
My friend calls a cab, and he brings the cab over. And apparently, now this is one of 3 cabs because of issues. He brings me into the cab. He drags my drunken body. I puke on the street everywhere. The cab's like, no, and it just drives off. Second cab comes.
No.
Drives off. Second cab comes. He's bringing me over. The guy takes one look at me. No, drives off. Third cab comes. Finally gets a cab that's willing to take my drunk ass home. He's like, all right, Clay, where do you live? And I'm like, I live, blah, blah, blah. And they drive me to my address. My friend and my friend's pretty big, so he can drag my like weak ass body up. Cab goes off. He brings me up. He's like, okay, what unit are you living in? And I tell him this unit. However, a month ago, I had just moved from the 2nd story to the 3rd story. So, and I tell him my old address, my old door room. So we go to the 2nd floor as opposed to the 3rd floor, and I'm walking drunkenly. I'm talking, blah, blah, and I take out my keys. And I'm like, I'm trying to get them into the keyhole, and they're just not going. And meanwhile, this is also now at 2 p.m. in the afternoon because we started at 11 a.m. and we're just completely plastered. So very weird. So I'm trying to shove the keyhole in. I'm like, it's not working. I'm thinking I'm just drunk. All of a sudden, the door swings open. This man comes up. He's like, can I help you? And I was like, oh, I'm very sorry. So he sees these 2 drunk people just trying to get into his apartment complex or his apartment room, and I'm just like, I'm sorry. I remember now that I moved up. I was like, I used to live here, blah, blah. My friend's like, dude, what is going on? So we go up to the 3rd floor. He picks my dead body, like my body up, my drunk body, throws me on the bed. He's like, all right, dude, make sure I'm not on my back, and then leaves me. I wake up to find out that like all this has happened. I also find out what happened to a couple other individuals. My one friend ended up getting thrown up and having to take in a cab who was chumming it up with some people. My other friend, colleague, he ended up stumbling into the bathroom, puked everywhere, and they had to call a cab to get him home. And then, so none of us went to hookah. We did not get far enough as the front door. And the other thing was really funny. The guy who ended up puking all over the toilet and like having to get like pulled out by like management. Oh, and we all left our wallets and our cards. We all had to go there the next day. But actually, the day after, because the next day was a work day because it was a Sunday, so it's Monday. Multiple friends actually had to go home. Like the next, they tried to make it into work, and everyone was hungover. And Patrick's like, dude, I gotta go. He's like,
this is why you don't order a 4 horsemen.
Yeah.
I used to serve those every so often. I'm just like, oh, these people are gonna be throwing up later.
It is nasty. You don't mix alcohol in general, right? And like that just that did it in. But yeah, man, that's my drunk story.
Well, how about this? I know I'm telling a lot of people. I have a few funny, crazy drunk stories, but I was a bartender for years, so I've seen a lot of people's drunk stories, and I've been actually the person that has made those happen by serving them sometimes. But I had this crazy epic one where it was this girl's 21st birthday. I've dealt with a lot of 21st birthdays, bartending for 6 years. But this girl, she came in, she had, her little crown on and her little group of friends. And I'm like, I've seen you in here for the past 2 years, now you're 21. So, but she's, going crazy, taking shots. And I worked in downtown Tampa. So, and I sat there, I'm like, man, people are going to have fake IDs. And I understand it. I ID'd everyone. But I just remember her being like, I've seen you in here like 3 or 4 other times. So she has this crown on and she's taking shots, shot after shot after shot. I'm like, good Lord, this is not going to be a good night for her. So I ended up cutting her off, and she left. So her and her little group of friends went to another place in downtown, and out of nowhere, her friends come back, and this is at 3 in the morning when we closed up. They're like, "Hey, have you seen this girl?" I said, "No, I haven't seen her since you guys left." They're like, "Well, we can't find her." I said, "Well, I don't know where she's at. There was 1,000 people here. I'm not your babysitter, you know."
Yeah, exactly.
So I said, when you guys went downtown, like went down the street, she might be down there. Go check there. So they left. They came back at 3:30. They said, "Hey, she's not down there. Are you sure she's not in here?" And we had like a big place, so we have to go through and sweep the place and everything. And so the guy bartenders go in and check out the men's room, and the girl bartenders go in, which was one or two we had, went into the girls, and they said, "Hey, there's one stall that's locked. We can't get in." So one of the girls climbed under and yelled. She was in there, and there was throw up everywhere.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. The worst thing though is that she was wearing a dress that night, so her underwear was sitting on the floor. She threw up all in that.
Funny.
Yeah.
Ugh. It's amazing what you do when you're drunk. Like, and you're throwing up. It's insane.
But it was so weird because like her dress had like moved down and her boobs were out, and her dress was kind of hiked up, so it was just like in the middle. And they're like, "Hey, Ian, we need some help." I'm like, "What?" And they go, "It's a really bad situation. You know, she's wasted, and her friends were outside. We're like, 'Hey, we found your friend, but you know she's gonna need some help.'" So when I go in there, I'm like, "Oh hell no, I am not helping with this." I'm like, "This is disgusting."
They don't pay you enough for that.
Yeah. So we ended up having one of her friends, one of the girls, come in, and we helped her. Like, it was funny because she finally came to, and she was trying to walk around the corner to walk out with still her dress just in the middle, not even like pulled down and up. I was like, no. I was like, you gotta do all this stuff and before you walk out.
So that.
The best part is that we finally get her with her friends. They take off. She left her purse there. So the next day, I'm sitting there opening the bar, and I'm, cleaning and getting everything set up. She walks in with a hat. She goes, "Hey, I left some stuff here." I'm like, "Okay." I was like, "What'd you leave?" She's like, "My purse, da 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 da." And I go to grab it, and I turn to her. I was like, "Oh!" And she's like, "Please don't. Just please don't." I was like, "Here you go." So she had to have that, walk in and be like,
like a walk, yeah, like a really bad walk of shame.
Oh,
it sucks.
But of course, me being the smart ass and everything, I was like, "Hey, how was your night?" And I hit her in the face.
She's like, "Please don't."
Yeah.
I swear. Well, look, man, those are drunk stories. They're crazy, and
Yep.
we have a bunch. We'll have to do maybe like a part 2 of this down the line because there's a lot of good stuff. Although I don't know how much I want to necessarily divulge to YouTube. But look, I have a baby, and that baby is crying. So look, this has been another great episode of the Everything and Nothing show. Again, we're going to be here next week with another 5 topics. You can all get this on youtube.com/Maelstrom Gamers channel. You can support us via YouTube or patreon.com. Just throw us a couple bucks, if not just to support us and keep us doing what we're doing. We'll be back next week, like I said, with another set of 5 topics. It's been an honor to entertain you guys. Peace and take care.
AKA The Journey.